welcome, and I promised you we'd have a special guest today, eventually in the future, obviously, and this is it. This is Sue, and she came to visit me, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a story of how we really met. I was with the Narc for 4 years. I'm going to keep this very brief, and I just really want to have this video is because people are going to say, oh, well, my Narc didn't do this, and this other person, their Narc did this, so mine must not be a Narc. What you're going to find out is this is the same Narc, but they did different things. In my case, I have a lot that happened in 4 years, but then after the 4 years was done, I did the no contact whatsoever. You will heal, I healed. You will heal. I had a lot of hobbies going, and I was past it. Okay, everything. I was past everything, and it was nothing but a story. And I got a message through my Facebook from one of his new supplies, and this person now was having problems with him and knew I dated him and wanted to talk to me about it. That was a difficult situation because I didn't know if I wanted to even get myself involved. That is another thing we can get into later. But I did give it a little thought and wish that somebody maybe had told me some of this stuff. So I did get a hold of her. It was somebody different. She's not here, so I'm not going to use her name. And in between the time helping her with the supply, this is Sue. She was the other supply going on at the same time. I'm going to try to do this again. This person was with him, actually living with him, and she was having problems. And as she talked to me about it, I could only tell them what I was experienced with him. He was building a relationship with Sue. So there was two of them. And so it's the same Narc, same person. So maybe Sue can maybe tell what she went through of the roller coaster of like meeting him and then the discard and when he did it. You're going to see that they're completely different scenarios, what he did to me, but they're the same outcome. Okay? Sue, go ahead, and you want to like maybe start on how you maybe knew the other person and how. I just know that she told me he's got this phone number on his phone. I don't know who the Sue is. And later on, she found out who the Sue was. So,
and I received a phone call from this woman I didn't even know, asking if I was someone else. She didn't want to use my name. And I asked her who this was, and she turned around and wouldn't tell me who she was and hung up. Apparently, he had my phone number in his phone, and she had found it and decided to call me and find out who I was. And I don't really recall what happened after that.
Now, in your case, though, when this other person that got a hold of me, which was living with him, you were in a relationship before even her. Like, this was like the second round for you, right?
I was in a relationship. I was in a relationship in 2013, and while he was seeing me, he was also seeing another girl, not the same one that had called me, a different one. And then I come to find out that he is seeing someone else. He breaks up with me on my birthday, which was real sweet.
And the breakup is not like... It's out of the blue.
No,
it's just out of the blue.
He just dropped my belongings on my front porch, and that was it, and left me dumbfounded on what was going on. I had no clue, and I just went on with my life after that, still dumbfounded, never knew what I did. You know, I felt like I did something wrong to cause this, and I was hurt. And then I think 6 months, I don't know, no, a while after that, all of a sudden, I'm driving down a road, and all of a sudden he's waving me to pull over on some road. I haven't seen him in quite a while, probably a couple years, and he's waving me over saying, hey baby, how are you, and da-da-da. And make a long story short, come to find out he's living with this other woman and lied to me and said she was moving. He didn't want her to live with him. She moved herself in, all this other stuff and everything. In the end of all that, comes to find out that he was seeing her, and then he started up a relationship with me, and then he turned around and discarded me later on, and come to find out that he's still with her. I mean, it was back and forth thing.
And she actually caught them.
Yes.
Yeah, there was the situation where supposedly, as far as she knew, she was still with him, but then got kind of leery of, wait a minute, did he really break up with this other person? Kind of suspicious of it. A little bit of stalking happened, like we all do, and actually caught him red-handed. He denied it. So basically, it gets a little, because you've got to understand, when us three girls got together, it took many days to put the stories together. I know I got a message through my Facebook that he did a sudden breakup, just like this situation, just a sudden breakup. We were in Hawaii, he's making it miserable, and just like she said, there's no reason. I'm sure out there, all of you have dealt with that. It just like, it happens, or they create it, or they make it happen, and then you're just kind of standing there clueless, like you have no idea. I mean, you have no idea why this happened.
He will go in and out of your life, and you will not know.
And there'll be no explanation when they come back either.
Right. It'll be just like as if you just seen him last week and everything was fine.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of the let's take a break, which we discussed that in another video. Go back to my other videos.
Oh, he didn't use the let's take a break.
I had the let's take a break because I found out later, and this is the neatest part, because this other person, which was living with them and was involved in this triangle over here, she was a lot more inquisitive, you know, like wanted to know everything, where I just was, I wasn't like that. You know, I'm going to say it's a nosy thing, it's a good thing. And you find out a lot of what they said about you. You find out there was a bunch of other affairs, and he thought it was funny when I was with him. I was in a serious relationship for 4 years, as far as I knew. And you find out later this, let's all of a sudden take a break, all it has to do with is seeing another person. You find that out later. And when they come back, it's like I never... And if I said, let's take a break, I'm going to say something like, okay, this is why I took a break, I was dealing with stuff. There's like it never happened. They just kind of like pull you back in, and you're so hooked on them, they love bomb you back in.
They draw you back in.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people out there with the narc situation, they would always say, I don't understand this, I don't understand this. Like it's so common sense that you hurt somebody. It's so common sense you don't do this. And it is, because we spin our heads around like, how can they do this? This doesn't make any sense. Don't try to figure out. We've discussed that before in another video. Don't try to figure out. And the number one thing I learned that makes it's hard to understand, pretend like a person doesn't have a conscience. They have no conscience. So if you don't have a conscience, they don't see anything. Like, let's say you did something that was all by accident, you still feel bad and you apologize, and you even might feel guilty even later, even when it's no big deal. They don't have that. So if you have no conscience, it's like blank.
It's like it's never happened. None of what he did to you and how he crushed you, it never happened.
And as you see, my pattern was a little different than her pattern. And then the other person's pattern was different. And like I said, he broke up with me to test this new person he met online, break for like 2 months.
He left you hanging like a puppet.
Like 6 weeks. And there was no reason, just like poof, put your stuff on the front door like mine. And, you know, when he left me, he said, I always will love you. I'm like, that makes sense to me. It's like, when you love somebody, you don't do this, and it would be nice to have an explanation. And I found out, she ended up seeing on Facebook that we got back together, and I posted something about us making cookies, because she started getting suspicious because all of a sudden he wasn't calling anymore or wasn't returning where he was there every night, and I looked at him, and she got hold of me by Facebook and said, and I ended up, okay, here's the bad thing, long story short, I ended up believing him. I went crazy mad, okay, and he was caught, as I got caught with me, he got caught red-handed with you, and I believed him for a couple reasons I won't bring up, but I was stupid enough. I have to say this. I think I was scared it was true. You know, I think
I could see
we
that.
try to
I
not
could
make
see
it's
that.
not true. You just don't.
It
you
hurt
rather,
too much to
you don't want to believe it.
right, to accept the reality that it was not true.
But later I did get a hold of her, and we had a long talk, and she went through, you have to go, everybody has to go through those steps of like, what, you know, put the pieces together during the time frames, you know, and it all makes sense. It's very unique.
I blamed myself. I kept blaming myself. What did I do wrong? What did I do? You know, because
Or you're defending yourself,
he
one or
makes
the
you
other.
feel like you really fall in love with him. You really truly fall in love, and it was
It's
real.
one-sided.
It was real for me, but it wasn't real for him. While it was real for me, he was working on the next one and the next one.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
they're collecting their supply because they never want to. They've got to need. And here's the other thing: they need their ego filled considerably. They have to have the ego, and ego is a lot of different things. It's not just I look in the mirror and I think I'm great. It's they need that attention and needs it, and you got to realize when that person's been around for a while, it's not new anymore. It's not exciting enough. It's like a drug for them. They got to have that high.
That thrill is
the
he's
high
gotta
all the
keep,
time.
He's got to keep the thrill going.
Right, and once you become conditioned, they got you in your place, it's like, okay, so I got this one in my place, and then whatever, and then they start new supply on the side.
But then they hold on to you too, that
Right,
puppet strings. So
right.
if this relationship doesn't work, then you fall. He can always go back to the fallbacks. We become the fallbacks. And if you're smart,
exactly.
if you're smart, you will not, or if you catch him, you will not know. You will not let him make you become the fallbacks. You will end it.
Right. Well, we all look back. I think everybody looks back because it's part of a brainwashing, a manipulation, mind control of what they do and how they do it, and they're masters at it. That it's like you have the trauma bonding and everything else that's all involved, and the love bombing, and they make you feel that you're at fault. That it's easy to fall back into it, but yeah, it was. I see the pattern was mine now. Every time there was a break, now that I know what the other person told me and this and what you saw. Don't think I didn't see the red flags a million times. I did, and you just stayed with it because of the trauma bonding. I don't think you want to believe it. You know,
No,
I don't know
you
what
don't.
it is.
You don't, because you're
You
already
found your prince. You know,
you're that far in love with him and that deep.
You're in love with the fantasy. Remember that.
Yeah.
When you're hard to get rid of them, you're in love with the fantasy that they created, because that love is one-sided.
And each woman that he meets, he gets a little bit more.
How to behave.
Yes.
Little tricks, what makes them happy.
Learns from them, like the wine bottle that you
did
for him. And
he liked wine, and so for his birthday I made a wine kit, and I'm a little on the creative side, and so then I designed labels and everything, and he's making his own special wine. Well, then one of the next ones, I don't know how many next ones after me, I was out of his life, he was designing the labels for them. So like sometimes what he picks up from each one, he uses it for the new supplies as, oh, that's really cool.
And he also buys the same gifts for
each
woman. Each woman.
You've got to tell the story about that one. Okay, this is just a funny thing.
Okay, the other woman that I busted him with, and
which we all became friends. I'm just not using her name because she's not here.
And I went crazy trying to warn her and also talk to her and find out what is going on. What does she know about this? And about this man and everything. And so anyway, we all become friends. And she comes over to my place. We have barbecues together. We went to concerts together. She comes to my place. I'm showing her my place. We walk through my bedroom. And she goes, "Where did you get this?" It was a gift from him. And she turns around and goes, "Where did you get this? Did you get this from him?" And I said, "Yes, it was a gift in a gift bag." She goes, "Oh my God, oh my God." She goes, "I gave that to him. He regifted a gift from her to me." That was horrible. Then I come to find out he gave us each
Sexy negligee.
negligee.
Different colors, though.
Just different colors and everything. Same exact one, and it was just like
They have
I was
trophies
stunned.
too.
I was stunned.
Like,
yes, and if
they
you,
you'll find collected underwear. I mean, they don't collect them deliberately. Like, if they leave it there, he doesn't notice it.
yeah, like robes and just all kinds of stuff.
He doesn't clear. They don't clear things. Now we're just speaking of this.
It's
Narc.
like souvenirs. It's like souvenirs that he collects from each and every woman that he's with.
But he doesn't like deliberately collect them and like fold them and put them in a box. It's like if they fall behind the bed or the whatever here, he doesn't even know they're there anymore. It's like it's not like a normal person that starts a new relationship. Let's say they broke up, they went through a bad relationship, whatever, or whatever. You kind of clear out your life. You know what I mean? You don't get into another relationship till you do that healing stage. I myself personally would never date anybody that was divorced, not separated, for at least 1 year. That's my minimum, because they have to go through that reflection stage, and that they need that time to do that. So it's like, I'm just trying to kind of give an example. Like, it could be behind his bed or underneath it or whatever. There could be earrings. There could be
which
bras.
I found.
Oh, well,
I found an
up
earring.
her butt, you know. and you know, underwear could be just random, or they had robes in there or whatever in his closet when they would come over, and he just forgets they're in there. It wasn't like he collected them, but remember, you know, some could collect them, but he did do things like all of a sudden all these pictures would appear, and there'd be other, you know, just a friend.
Yeah, you showed me your picture from years ago.
Yeah, and you know what that
them.
is? We have another thing called triangulation, and you need to watch that video. That's what they're doing. The triangulation is to get you jealous. It's bringing in something else to make you get nervous. You may lose them, so you lift the bar. Like,
right.
You know, it's like a threat.
You do what he wants you to do.
It's like a threat, like, oh, wow, you know, look like she's pretty, or, you know, he still has her picture, or you find another female item in there, whatever. Somewhere inside you, even though you think you're a relationship, it brings another person in, even though it's an item, into your relationship that's actually a threat, you know, and makes you more afraid you're going to lose them. It makes it real, and you kind of lift the bar to do better. That's what the triangulation is. It could be an item, it could be other people, or anything. They're bringing another item into the relationship to kind of threaten you, really, and it's in a weird way.
And he uses the same phrases, the same...
Oh, yeah, the
You're
same...
so wonderful.
Come on, we found that out, too.
Yes.
Where were you my whole life? And we're talking the first week.
The same, yes, the same
first
line.
week, in the first week, even a couple days.
Yes.
I can't believe where have you been all my life.
Yes.
It's like you're the chosen one.
Your
you know?
furniture's going to look good in our summer house in Florida.
Oh, yeah,
we're
going to pick out a house together.
Didn't even know that we were going to live together or be married or anything else. And
we discussed that in another video. Too much, too fast. That's your red flag. Too much, too fast.
Yes,
yeah. Nobody does that. I mean, we're not thinking about that at the time. You know, you just don't, really. But we're big girls. You know, we've been through around the block a few times, and it still happens. It still happens. There's a fourth one that I got to know personally. But I feel bad for her. She was the one that he just suddenly dumped me for 6 weeks. What it was, and now that I find out now, what I know now, is every one of those just whatever, they'll pick a fight too. They'll create something if they have to.
And how many others do we not know
about? I heard there was tons.
You know, there was like that one when he...
They're just leaving you to test somebody out, see if they'll be better than what you are.
When he broke up with me on my birthday and all that, left my stuff on the front porch, Then later on, I meet this other woman that he's living with, but he doesn't tell me he's living with her. I find out there's someone that was in between us. And it was
Yeah, we found that out later, too.
Within weeks.
So there could be even more, and not even that. They might even not meet in person. They could. He was big with the internet, with the online thing, and we discussed this in one of the other videos. Be careful online, what you put, because they love those. They get to know you by what you put in that article.
That's how he gets his next
And it's
victim.
reflecting.
He gets his
they
next
mirror
victim.
you, and all of a sudden like everything you like and dislike everything. That's just all in the love bombing thing. So that's like, but what we're kind of saying is like different things happened to her, and they were kind of the same, different. And basically, I want to put this is, and I really want to kind of like show you this because it was the same narc. And it's just funny because we are really good friends now. This can happen. I mean, she came visit me.
I'm
States
vacationing
away.
at her place right now.
And it's crazy because I was over it and they were going through the bad part. You know, the anger, the whatever, the understanding. So it was kind of weird. I already understood this now, and I did not understand it till later. I found that article. It said narcissistic in a relationship. Make sure if you ever look at my thing, put in a relationship in it, because it's totally different. And then all of a sudden, bing. So I was kind of able, like, this is what's happening. You still got to go through the I'm pissed off, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of showing you it's the same narc, but each victim is like a chess game to them.
Exactly.
Like, depending what her lifestyle is and what her work schedule is and what, you know, he makes a move for that one, and but this one, this moves over this way. They have to be customized for each person.
Well, he was.
But the end result's the same.
Yes, and he was juggling both of us at the same time.
He could be juggling 2 or 3. Like I said, they can communicate online through emails and those dating sites.
But
again, not in person yet.
But again, if he thinks you are totally 100% into 110% into this relationship and all that, you think he is too. But then all of a sudden he accuses you of cheating or being with someone else. And actually, it was him.
That's called projecting. I think we had a little bit of a video on that one. I can't remember if it was mixed in with another one, the projecting. And basically, I think we discussed it. We're seeing that a lot even on the media today. It's basically blaming the other person for what they're doing. They're projecting their faults onto you. That's what projecting means. So, and that I think we put the cheating was probably the most common you hear.
And he seriously,
in all cases, even if they're not a narc, we hear that a lot. They'll blame you. It's so you think you can't come back at them because they already blamed you first.
Right. But seriously, he really believes you're cheating on him.
Yeah, we had a situation that there's some paranoia in this. I mean, we discussed that too, that they may be a narc and have other issues. They can be bipolar, they can have
paranoid, schizophrenic.
They can have other things mixed in there. They might not just be a narc. So it's very, very difficult to diagnose, and usually they aren't because they never get into therapy because they're perfect. So and it takes a long time because they lie to this.
You know, and I really believe if you bumped into him, it's been how many years, but if you bumped into him walking down the road or driving down the road, he would act like as if it never happened. There was never a discard. There was never any hurt. Like
you're always a good guy.
Like he did to me. And he would actually try to start it up again. That's what I think.
I think for me, the only way he would use me, and I kind of feel this, if somebody knew me or knew him, like he had to make himself look like the good guy, like this person really knew who I was and he ran into them, he would definitely, like, I was like a stalker. Oh, I already heard it. This is what he told the New Supply.
We're all stalkers.
We were stalkers. We knew, you don't want to know the rest of them. There's all kinds of stories that we did, and they never happened, or, you know, we wanted to do, and we couldn't live without them. Everything is we can't live without. In their brain, We can't live without them. Okay, that's what they think. So always remember, if you sit and you want to get mad at them and cuss them out, I told you that before. You get one chance. Your goodbye exit. Say what you want to say, and that's it. Because the rest of it's attention to them. It'll be one ear out the other. If you do it for yourself.
You know, when us girls got together, the first night, and we started comparing notes. Well, he said this, and he did this with me, and he did. It was sad. It was truly sad, hurtful, but at the same time, it was really funny because he did the same exact lines with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Did the same exact things, the promises, and all of it. It was like he's an actor. He was a total actor.
They have a pattern. They have a pattern.
Script. But he picked up a little bit from you to use on me.
And they pick up new stuff on each female what the female likes. Because they don't know. They don't know what love is. They don't know, like all they know is, like, the fun attention part. The attention that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they're love bombing you, the only reason they're love bombing you is for a game. They're priming you for the future.
Mm-hmm.
To be hooked, so they're actually they're getting something out of the fun of it, but they're actually going through this pattern, and you're new, so it does make it fun for them to get you suckered in. Once you're suckered in, then all of a sudden, like we discussed, all of a sudden all the things they like, they all of a sudden don't like about you, or they'll pick on you, and it's just the little things over, and all of a sudden, leave you, come back, and leave you.
But you
emotional roller coaster.
You were what he was looking for in the beginning. You were the perfect woman. You were the chosen one, and all this. But then later on, he starts picking at you with this and that.
Well, all the things he said he liked about you, all of a sudden now they don't.
Right, but you were the woman he was looking for.
Or they make it up.
Yeah.
They make something up. But this basically shows you the narcs can be the same narc, but they may do different things. They have different techniques for each person. And they got to shuffle these people. Plus, they're testing you every day. Remember that. They're always testing you. Because if he could say, hey, I need a break. Out of nowhere, you're coming to spend the weekend like you always do, and just bam, I need a break, and no explanation for it, and you just kind of walk away like a zombie, like not what's going on. And you know mentally what that does to you, because you're trying to figure out what you did wrong. And you're spending your whole weekend or week or whatever happens, and then they pop back in. They're testing you that you came back. You came back and you didn't even question it. So that now they can raise the bar on this.
Right.
Everything's a test. How far they... Okay, you dumped them finally. You've had it. And then all of a sudden, a week or two later, you come back. They throw a few crumbs. Baby, let's go out to dinner. And like nothing happened. And you go for it. And you just think it's all going to start. The fantasies... No, you walk back into it without an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird. Why aren't we demanding an explanation? You're just so manipulated by then.
It's the Casanova. The actor.
It's the fantasy. You think the fantasy came back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You actually walk back into it, and
but it was
not making them explain why did this even happen in the first place.
It was his fantasy, not ours. It was real for us. It was his fantasy.
Well, we thought it was. At least for us, it was weird. We thought we were doing the same thing. But for me to come back at any time of breakup, they knew they're testing you how far. Like, boy, she puts up a lot. Now I can do more. So what happened is all that testing that was happening to me, that's when all the affairs were happening on the side. Because he knew he could do this anytime, I'll still come back.
Right.
If I didn't put up with it, it would have been a different story.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would have eventually I would have probably left.
Well,
and we had to move on.
We weren't together for too long either time. We were together twice, and both times we weren't together that long, and all that. Because even though I didn't understand it till I met her, and she went through it and explained all this, I didn't know what really was going on. But I did when I busted him with the other girl. That was enough for me. That was enough for me.
And he didn't. Okay, we're not going to get into that deep in the story. But the funny part is, how do you bust somebody? You're standing right there with them, and then they tell you no, they're not cheating. Like,
I seen him
I
come
mean,
out
it's
of
like
her,
they're standing right there. I mean, coming out of her apartment and everything.
coming out of
and
her
they're-
apartment
how
at
can you
5
deny it
o'clock
when
in the
it's right
morning.
there?
Coming out of her apartment at 5 o'clock.
That's how
in the
bad
morning.
it is.
And he walked.
They're not ready to be caught, though.
And he walked up to my car like, just another day, sort of smile on his face, and a beautiful morning. And then he seen me, and he still didn't act nervous or anything, you know.
They do no wrong.
Yeah, until I stood up for myself, and I spoke out.
You gotta sit back. You really, really, really gotta sit back. No matter how hooked you are on them,
Yeah.
no matter how much you think you're in love with them, and really take that, write down that picture. I mean, even visualize it. Pretend in your mind it's someone else. Like, would you really allow this? Would you
Right.
really allow this in any other relationship? Would you really allow to be treated like this? And all this, like, pretend like your other friend came to you. You'd be like, girl, why are you putting up with that? You know?
And the control thing. Like,
Lot of
when
control.
I wanted to go to my daughter's
And they
boyfriend,
make you feel bad.
and it was not allowed. But he could come and go and do whatever he wanted, but I couldn't do certain things.
Yeah, I noticed when I
You
got
know?
deeper into the relationship,
It was the control.
anytime I stepped out, and now this wasn't like tied up and chained, I was still living in my own place. But I noticed when I get deeper in a relationship, you really do spend all your time with them at the beginning anyways. But
Right.
once you like get comfortable, and you should be able to do something outside of them once in a
You
while,
go out with the
they
guys,
make you
you
feel
go out with
bad,
the girls, and
they make
everything.
you feel guilty, and then they accuse you of something. It's a slowly.
Well,
and it's
he accused me of going out to see someone that night that he started some fight,
You always have
and there
an
was
affair.
no reason to fight, and he
They can be
accused me.
created.
He was on his way over to the other woman's house, but he
So
tried
you're
to
being accused
he tried to accuse me of
messing around with no reason behind it, yet he was the one going to another
and I was
person's house.
dumbfounded. He started a fight
That's called
just
projecting.
so he can go to the other girls and then blame me.
Oh yeah, they're
as
very
if I
good
was
at making you
seeing
feel it's your
someone else.
fault. If not, they'll even create it, and they won't give it up. It won't. I don't care
Oh,
if
no,
it
I think
stops
they
for a
really-
week. It'll come back.
I think they really believe it, really deeply believe it.
There's a lot of times I think he really got to the point they believe their lies. They just lie so
Mhm.
much they believe their lies, and that is true. I mean, I know everybody's probably heard that statement before, but it is true because they're just like clueless in the face.
Anyone who turns around and tells you cannot hang out with your friends, or you cannot go different places, or you can't do that, that's not a real good relationship.
It's a weird type of control.
He's trying to control you. A relationship shouldn't be like that. You should be able to do what you want within reason. You know what I'm
There was like all these like small like little rules that just creep up on you. Like they weren't like blot out fight that you remember. It's like they slowly got kind of creeped out that I remember like after 2 or 3 years of the relationship. This is honest God truth. And here I've been independent and raised my own kids. It's like any little thing I would do, I would actually stop in my mind and say, okay, will he be okay with this?
Right.
And I was conditioned to the point that it was normal to do that.
He has you walking on the eggshells.
It-
Every move you made, every
Like,
single
is it okay
day.
to post this picture?
Yes.
He'll get mad about that.
Yes.
Is it okay to put this on social? He didn't want me to put anything on social media at all. Well, and then the other person he had on social media, like after me, whatever. Basically what it was, once I found out all the affairs or him picking up things on the side, whatever, that was the reason he didn't want his pictures on there.
Mm-hmm.
Even after 4 years.
Somebody would see him.
See him on, yeah, well, he got caught anyways. A couple times. Probably pretty lonely by now.
Well, he made his
Well,
bed.
and we did have another video that we went by people, what people had said, what I've read, and then what people have came forward and said in a lot of the blogs. No, they don't get better as they age. That seemed to be like 85-90%. if you stay with them in the relationship, it gets worse. I think a lot. I think we came to terms that they start losing their looks, they start losing their abilities, and they get angry and they get worse, meaner, more controlling, maybe.
And all the fun things that he wants to go here, take you there, do this, do that. Forget about that. That's out the window.
You'll do it at the beginning.
Yes, at the beginning. That's to
It
suck
will
you
all
in.
go
That's
away.
part of his Casanova, to suck you
It's the
in,
love bombing.
make you fall in love with him, and all that. And once he's got you, then that's
It's
when
a
it
mental
starts.
abuse, though.
Then that's when it starts.
You don't think it ever could happen to you, but it's a weird, scientific way, the way they do it. And we both said this, like when you look back, it's like we have a lot to blame ourselves, too. Like, there were red flags. They were there.
But then he already sucked you in so
Well,
hard,
they set
so
you into the
deep,
pattern. And
all
we're
this.
talking, these are independent girls here. And if you fall into it, don't feel like an idiot. Because, wow.
So like you said earlier in our conversation, take everything slow.
Oh, yeah,
They
if you
just
meet
wanna
somebody
rush
new, don't be
you
afraid.
Yes.
You don't, like I said, I'm afraid to date because I've gotten to the point I'm afraid of myself. Like I'm not smart enough to catch it, again, because I've had a few of them happen to me. But really, I think the number one clue would be too much too fast.
Yeah.
That would probably be...
See, and I couldn't date either, along with what you said, and too, it's because the hurt is so painful.
Well,
And-
it's
and they
scary
don't-
because you
and
have
they
to
don't
be
get
in
a
it a while
clue.
before you know you're in it.
They don't get a clue of what they have done. There's no consequences for their actions. It's like they did no wrong, and yet they crushed you. And it does take a long time to heal. It takes a long time to recover from it.
And don't worry about, should I date right away? Should I not date right away? I see a lot of that in the blog, like, people are worried about when they should start dating again, or they get down on themselves because they haven't dated in 3-4 years. You date when you want to date, when you feel ready for it. You may never want to date again. You may want to be straight up front and say, go out and have a good time, have a dinner, even do a Dutch if you want to. You call the shots. What you need to remember is we forget because we did get taken advantage of, that we're so shocked. Maybe even more than once. We've probably had more than one narc in our life. A lot of us have. That we're so shocked we fell for it. We almost get scared we're going to fall for it again and not know it. But you got to always remember you have control. You always have control to say, I don't want to date you anymore, or I just want to go out once a week, or whatever. And we forget we have control of that.
But that's what they do. They take away your control from the Casanova, from all the opening the door for you and bringing you here and doing this for you and just being so sweet and all that they take that control from you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where...
I think it makes you let your guard down.
Yes. Because you trust them.
You start...
And it's horrible that you can't
You
trust...
think you found your soulmate.
Yes.
That's the way they make you feel.
So
and
that's
then that's
why
when
we
they start manipulating the situation.
That's why it's hard for us to date now, too, because
So
of the trust.
as far as my opinion, I don't know if it's yours, like, the only thing I can say is a sure deal is too much too fast. Don't give them too much information at the beginning either.
Right.
Because they'll use it for you in the end. So always remember, if this person, and we discussed this before, that it's really scary because you kind of have to be in the relationship for a while before you know you're in one. You can't really tell.
Look at the other girl. I'm not going to say her name, but look at her. How many years was she with him? Off and on, off and on.
Well, that was a testing too, so he's going to take it to the next. Remember, if you go back, your discharge is going to be worse each time.
She also thought she could change him.
Yeah, they can't be changed.
And she found that out the hard way.
Yeah, that's a big one too. It's the nurturing in the female. It can be, and we have a lot of males that are very nurturing more than the females. So this can be male or female. If you're a very nurturing, good person, that's what they go for. Believe it or not, they want people with high quality. They don't want duds, and they're very nurturing. And the nurturing works in their favor because they know you'll feel bad for them. And they'll give you sad stories too, they know it works. And the more nurture, the more good person you are. You forgive, you want to help them, you want to heal them, and they'll just beef that up to just whatever works for them.
They just suck you dry of everything you have.
But don't be afraid of dating again. Remember, I would give yourself time to heal. Don't do a rebound situation. But there's not a time span. You may never want to date again. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can have friends, you know. Gosh, my favorite friends are gay friends because they're like fun, and there's no like scary part of them. And like I said, a lot of people have to be in the relationship to even know they're in it first. So that's scary too, that you have to commit so much time of your life before you even know they're a narc. You know, this stuff has to happen. They got to do the love bombing and start doing this. But you know, too much too fast is the basic thing I would watch for. Don't give them too much information at the beginning, because just think about what you're telling them. Any like personal things, maybe when you're young or something like that, they'll use that at the end. They'll use that at the end to degrade you. Like, they'll act like they're really nice about it and sweet and understanding. So be careful with all those things. But as you can see here, it's the same narc. We both dealt with different things. All of us did. I know there's a lot more of them. He even has a few we call fans. There's the ones that called Fans and Ran. There's another video on that called Fan and Ran. That's basically the one that still, they could be married or anything. They still come around for a piece, or they still say they're friends. And the Ran is us. We ran. We got it. So I don't know. The Fan has their own issues.
He has a few of those still.
Yeah, they're like they're like, they know they always have them in their back pocket. They just have to have a harem. That's all it is. Now, but obviously he's older now.
Older he gets,
I think we're doing better. Believe me,
losing.
karma does happen. Karma
Yes.
does happen. It may take 10 years, it may take 15. Just leave it go. Just leave it go. Let God take care of it.
He'll wind up being by himself, like I said.
Yeah, he's getting found out, and they don't like themselves. But yeah, we may work this out. We'll kind of see what everybody wants. I mean, I may even have other guests, and we can do it by phone and have their part of it and see what they went through, because it's neat to hear real stories. And like I said, he was the same narc, and it's not always the complete same story. But it ended the same way. But hers is totally. It depends at the time frame and your work schedule and what time of year it is or whatever. What he's going to manipulate this. But don't think he didn't get caught though. I mean, we're his worst enemy that happened. We're the worst thing that ever happened to him.
And even when I busted him, he still looked me straight in the eyes and denied it and called me a liar. But he was sitting right
I had a
next
cheater's app with a flip phone. Can you believe that one?
He was still sitting right next to the woman that he was cheating with. But
he already told the other woman, which we're all friends now. We called that smear campaigning, and that's in another video. He already conditioned her, because I knew of that before I knew her, because she was talking to me that he was telling her she was crazy and she was stalking him and she did this and that. She's totally crazy. So they get the new person conditioned. So be really careful if you're in a relationship with the narc and they're really bad-mouthing, like over the top about the ex and about another ex or another person. Usually the ones that they still, like, they left them, they hang on to them a little bit, kind of thing. But the ones that there's this one, I don't know what he says about me. I heard stuff from her, but he's gonna set that up with everybody. That if she may run into me or something, so she was crazy, I was stalking. So they've already got that set up. So when she came running to the car, and saying, you are cheating, whatever kind of thing, the other person's already got it in their mind, you're a crazy woman.
Yeah,
he's already told them that, so.
Yeah, but I flew all those texts to her that he was saying.
She saved her texts. that's another thing. I know this video's getting a little long. We're gonna make it this long, but that's another thing. I'm going to a whole nother topic. Is like when I got notified, and that's gonna have to be someone's choice, and that's a tough one. Everyone's gonna have their own thing. You may be confronted. Like we did go through all this bad experience, and it's like heartbreaking, and it makes you a little more bitter and everything. But we found a way now to make a positive thing out of it, to like talk about it, help other people with it. So you're going to be in the same position. Don't look at it completely negative. You're maybe conditioned by God that, in a year or two you may have to help somebody because now you understand it. They're going to look for you to help them understand this. So you're going to be a teacher, and everybody is. So there's going to be a little bit of a positive thing out of this, but I kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry, but
Well, I think like with us, comparing our notes and sticking together and staying strong and trying to warn other people that this was happening too.
oh, that's what I was getting to. Do you? Because I've had this one. They know the new person they're with, and they want to warn them, and that is a really touchy situation. Everyone's going to have to. This is my opinion. If you're trying to heal and you're having a really bad time, you're best staying away from it completely. But if it's somebody, you think they're a sweet person and they're going to get hurt, the only thing you can do is message them by Facebook or something, or a letter, and keep it very nice. Never use cuss words, never cut them down. Say, I was in this relationship and this is what happened to me and this is what they did to me. I just want to warn you that it may could happen to you. I'm going to tell you, first thing's going to happen, they're not going to believe you. The new supply.
No, because
they're
he
not gonna
makes
be,
you out
because
to believe
he's probably already told him you're crazy anyway.
he makes you out to believe that he's like God and
Yeah.
all this. He was the perfect man for you. And
Oh, here's the one they use. Oh, she's just doing that. I used to date her because she still wants me.
Right,
And they're trying to
right.
break us up. They're just trying to break us up. So, you don't know.
And a lot of people do believe that.
Well, sometimes that's true, too.
Yeah, but in with the narc, in that case, no.
So, I'm just going to say, if that's a new supply, he's loving bombing them. He's probably already, or she, has already went through the book of like, this person's crazy, that one's crazy, whatever. So now you've already been told everybody's crazy, or they're stalkers, or they did weird things, or whatever. Or they've already taken care of that. Or the new supply is just in love bombing. They're just not going to believe you anyways. They're not going to believe you. So you can give it that one chance, and that's all you can do, and just walk away if you feel like you need to.
Well, that's how I felt like I had to help the other woman that we're not going to
Whether they believe you or not, you
Help
can walk
her.
away.
And so I shot her a whole bunch of texts, and at the same time, he was trying to...
She saved her text from him.
He was trying to erase them and all that, and he brainwashed her into believing that I was a stalker, I was crazy, and all that.
But it did put that little seed in her head of now kind of... And what could happen in the future, he does start doing this stuff, they will remember that letter.
She starts seeing the things that
She'll
I'm telling.
see it faster.
The things that I'm telling her that he did or he was doing, she started noticing them. The red flags started going up all over the place.
Because you said something.
Right.
Now, if
and then you
didn't,
also said something to her and all that. And then you told her, and we all talked about it, and we could see all the different red flags going
now,
up.
for me, that's the only reason I answered her letter, is because I thought about it for a little bit. I didn't want to be pulled back into his drama. And believe me, they'll say they hate drama, but they're the ones that cause that drama. But
if you could help,
if I could
person.
say agree with her, I would just tell her, yes, I've seen him do this. That helps her. I didn't have any of that. So if there was one person that would have came forward and said, this happened to me too, I might have started leaning out of the spell.
Right.
A little faster than trying to figure this thing out. Because the only person manipulating the puppet strings was him. There was not an outsider coming and saying, no, he's done that, and it happened to somebody else, and this is what he's doing. it kind of opens your eyes a little better. But just remember, don't try to overdo it. If you feel you have to warn this person, one warning, and that would be it. Because they're not going to believe it at the beginning.
They'll start looking for the signs.
It'll
And
be
once they
later.
see the
I'll
sign-
guarantee
Well, like
later
what
they're
she
going to
did.
get hold of you.
Like I warned her on these different things and everything, but he kept putting in her head I was the stalker, I was the bad person, and all this. But then later on, when I stepped away from the whole picture and let the two of them be together,
the cycle
and I gave her all
happen.
the information that could help her, then she started seeing those flags.
A lot
And then-
faster than if you went into it alone. So be real careful with that.
Keep your eyes open.
That's a tough one. Some people aren't healing from it very well, that they do just kind of need to stay out of it. But if you feel like this is a person you really would like to warn, one warning, that's it. Whether it be in a letter, a message, I'll guarantee you, could be 6 months, 8 months, 2 months, a year, 2 years later, they're going to be calling you back.
Hers was 2 weeks. 2 weeks she called me. Sue?
Well, she was having problems with him already. She already confronted me.
Right.
She
So
actually
she got
made
in-
that leap to find me, so she was dealing with stuff
So
already.
she got some from you and then later on get some from me and everything.
How long
but he
was it, do you think she was with him before she, what was it that she was with him that she actually started seeing enough problems that she got hold of me? By a year?
February. No, probably about 6 months. 6 months.
So she was in a relationship about 6 months.
Mhm.
So, I mean, prior her getting hold of me, everything was peachy, you know. But for a person to have to seek me out and to send a private message through Facebook, there was already
It was
something.
bad.
Yeah,
It was bad.
something's happening. So either way, you could end up getting a message, a phone call, or some kind of thing. If they knew you dated them before, you're going to have to make that choice whether you want to get involved or not. If you do, I would just very likely just try to keep it as civil as possible and not bad mouthing as much as, you know, like, you know, you don't keep the cuss words down and everything. Just say, so I told her, I said, I don't know what's in your relationship. All I can tell you is what happened in me. And leave it at that, and then they can take it from there. And if you feel you want to warn somebody, again, one time, that's it, walk away. That or stay away from it. Whatever makes your healing better. If it makes it worse, don't do it.
Well, if somebody warns you, no matter if it's by phone, by messenger, by email, whatever, and they try to warn you, even if you don't want to believe them or you don't want to talk to them, keep your eyes open. They're giving you the warning signs. You know, whether you believe it or not, they're giving you the warning signs. So just pay attention. Keep your eyes open and look for them. You know, you don't have to go crazy every second of the day watching, wondering where he is, what he's doing. But keep those. You'll find out. You'll see.
I think it's been about 7 years. I don't know if you maybe considered 1 or 2 dates kind of thing. I don't know if you want to consider dates. So, as far as going back to the dating thing, and you really haven't either. And that doesn't mean... there is fear.
There's trust.
Don't feel... There's trust issues, exactly. Don't feel like you're weird about this. Don't worry about it. You'll know when you're ready. And again, the only thing I can say is you have control. You have control to say yes or no. And I think we forget we do that because we're so conditioned losing control.
Take it slow. Take it slow.
Just
There's no
look
hurry.
for the signs.
There's no hurry whatsoever.
And if you're not ready to date, don't do it. Some people never at all date again and just keep
Well,
friends.
we're not saying don't date, but if you feel uncomfortable, you don't feel like
you're
you're
not
ready,
ready for it,
then
just don't do it. I just see so many comments about they're worried about the fact they haven't dated, you know, or it's like I haven't had a date in a year and they think there's something wrong with them. That's why I don't want them to feel. Everyone has their own pace, you know, and when they're ready. And you know what? If it's really kind of the right person, you're attracted to them, you'll know.
Well,
Maybe that right person hasn't walked in yet, you know.
There's an old saying, when you least expect it.
It's when it happens.
When you go looking for it, you're not going to find it.
Some people like their single life.
Mm-hmm.
They have great friends, or they have male friends or whatever, or they do a couple dates here and there, or they build a career or whatever. And you remember that that's not the only thing in life. You know, there's other things, and that's where you meet the new people. You get so focused in other things and your career or hobbies and stuff, and you actually meet the real person, you know. So don't be afraid of dating. We understand there's the trust issues. We have that. We've discussed that a million times. But you know what to look for. So you can't go overboard and not trust anybody, and you can't go, you know, the other way either. You just kind of reflect and learn from it. Listen to your friends. Make them tell you, because a lot of them would shut their mouths. Like all they do is walk away and roll their eyes at me. Don't do that, you know. Tell me. Listen to the friends, because they see from the outside of how you're being treated.
When you're in the box, you don't see.
Right. They see it, though.
They see it because they're outside the box.
And some will be afraid to tell you because they don't want to hurt your feelings because you're so in love.
Well, I had some friends that turn around and tell me, you know, different things and everything, and I'm like, yeah, you don't know, you don't know.
You don't know him.
Yeah, and they were
I remember
the
making
box.
excuses for him all the time, though, too.
Uh-huh.
Why he didn't show up, and they go, well, why is this, and why is that, and why didn't... Like, oh, well, you know... And I found myself making excuses for his bad behavior.
Well, this is your one and only love of your life and everything, that he made you feel that way.
It almost becomes like your child. You know how you make excuses for your child?
So
because you're embarrassed.
So you don't want to, you know, make him look bad to your friends. He's on a pedestal and everything, you know.
I don't think you want to see that either. Like, you don't want to see anything negative or bad. You want to stay in that love bomb fantasy mode that you don't want to get out of it, you know. But believe me, you're going to get out of it, because all those little things that were the fantasy things they did, they stop doing them.
Well, I think
the trips or the you know, going out all the time.
Everything should fall into place naturally. There shouldn't be any control. There shouldn't be, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know,
or being blamed for stuff you had to defend yourself that didn't happen. Dang.
That was crazy.
That was a lot. There's an emotional roller coaster that's crazy.
Well, like we said earlier and everything, that's because he did those things. So he can't take the blame for it.
They know how to...
So
They keep you confused, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think we've babbled enough. Sue's got to be on a plane in the morning. We got to get up at 4 in the morning and get her back on the plane. Just tell her, like, not to go back. We'll just stay here in the warm weather where I am. But so we just want to get a shorty in here, but you know how that goes. And we just we'll see you again, and we'll take any questions, and we'll have more for you. Thanks.